Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you the top 5 books that did not live up to the hype. So I feel like since I've started watching BookTube videos, I have back in 2015, there's been a lot of books that are highly hyped and praised and everyone loves it, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I will like that too, and then when you read it, you're like, that was horrible. So I think these are really neat to see because sometimes I feel like it's so hyped up in your head that it's when you come to read it, it's just like, what was everyone talking about? But just a disclaimer, I don't take offense with what I have to say. If you don't like one of my favorite books, that's okay. Don't take it personal. I think we're all entitled to our opinions. We all have our own different cups of tea and what we like. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So this was actually the book that inspired this video, and this was one that was really hyped over kind of last year and kind of earlier this year, and it was Three Dark Crowns by Kendare. Everyone when this book came out was talking about it and raving about it and how awesome it was, and there was a couple reviews from people that I really trust who said they really liked it. So I was like, okay, the plot sounds really good. It follows 3 sisters who are kind of separated at birth, and they each have their own power, and once they reach 18 they kind of have to fight each other for their throne, which I thought was just a really interesting premise, and I feel like they had a lot to work with there. But when I read the book, there were so many problematic things just in terms of characters and love triangles, and just kind of the writing, it's so dull for the last 90% of the book. I didn't become any attached to any of the characters. There was some parts were just really poorly explained, and there were so many characters with strange names that was just hard to keep track of everything. So I was really disappointed because I feel like it was so hyped up, and I felt like the plot, it could have been amazing, but it was just poorly executed and it just fell flat for me. This next one was probably the original one that was ruined by the hype, and it was Fangirl by Rowel. I heard so many great things about this when I first started watching YouTube, BookTube videos, and yeah, I just did not like it at all. I had found the character Kath to just be very problematic, and I had so many issues just with how she handled everything, and I know a lot of people can relate to it because it does kind of, it does kind of benefit from kind of the Harry Potter fandom, and it kind of uses that to its advantage, which I didn't like, especially using her fan fiction, which was basically like Harry Potter, which I didn't like, and she's kind of profiting off of that, which is a whole other thing. But I don't know, I found the character to be just really naive and just the decisions he make. I know it's talking about being in university for the first time, but I felt like some of it was just unrealistic, and she made me really, really mad. And this one, even now people rave about it. I'm like, it's so problematic. Why don't people see it? But yeah, I don't know. This one I just did not like. I hated it. The next one would be the hype that I built up in my own mind, and it was Black Dove, White Raven by Elizabeth Wein, and I read this over the summer, and I am a huge Codename Verity fan. I love that duology, I guess trilogy now, but that Codename Verity, I was so impacted by it. It's so beautiful, and so when she had a new release come out, Black Dove, White Raven, I was really excited about it, which follows basically I guess 2 friends who were kind of the aerialist during kind of the 1930s that did the air shows, and they ended up crashing and one of them dies. They were called Black Dove, White Raven was their name, and the one person who survived takes in her partner's son, who was, I don't know if he was born in Africa. I don't know. There's somehow a family connection in Africa, so she decides to drop everything and move out there, and I was just there wasn't much of a plot. I found the mother to be very childish, and I didn't really like any of the characters. It was interesting seeing the dynamics going on in Africa at the time, and just kind of how all the nations were coming in and all that, but it was just really frustrating, and it was I couldn't believe that she wrote Codename Verity, which was I hold on a pedestal, and then wrote this one, which was just not good. So next I have Burrell Rights by Hannah Kent, and this was a book that I read in October. It was actually my book club pick. And again, this was a book that I heard so many great things about it. Everyone seemed to love it, and I found the plot to be very interesting because it is basically a fictional storyline based around true events that follow Agnes, who was the last person to be beheaded in Iceland, which I found to be really interesting, and just kind of what happened kind of leading to the murder, and like maybe there's more to it than meets the eye, which I found to be just really interesting. I don't know, it was just I wasn't able to connect to any of the characters. It kind of was very info dumpy towards the end. Like she would kind of explain to like the priest or whatever that like what was happening, and then she'd get interrupted, and then we kind of bounce back a little, you know, flash forward 30 or so pages, you start talking about it again, and I get interrupted, and then like the last like 50 pages was just info dumping. And yeah, it was like the concept is interesting, but it wasn't something that I think was done well, and I just did not really like it. Lastly, this is going to be a bit controversial, but it will have to be Six of Crows. It's not something that's bad. Like, I think I really love Leigh Bardugo. I love the Grisha trilogy, but this was just something that didn't really click with me. And I heard so many great things about it, just like the duology in general. So I was really excited, and I really liked the Grisha trilogy going into it. But I don't know, I just wasn't able to connect with the characters. I didn't really end up caring for them, and just kind of their heist, I was like, you know, like whatever, it's not really that big of a deal. So I don't know, it was just like, I'm not saying it's a bad book, I'm just saying it wasn't my cup of tea. It's something that I really wish I can get into because I know so many people love it, but it was not something just that clicked with me. So I don't know, it's just how the table turns, I guess. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what some of your books that you think were ruined by the hype. So yeah, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.